November the 18th, the week before Thanksgiving. Yay! Almost there, end of 2023. And as usual, let's start with our prayer. So I will keep your niece in my prayers. Gloria, if you please send me her name. I will include her in my irradiation list with the group that we have here in Houston. But for today, just relax and elevate our thoughts. Invite the mentors of each one of us, the mentors of this group, the mentors of our family group to be here with us. And let's just listen to Suzanne Wilson's prayer.
Sit upright in a chair, both feet on the floor. Yoga students may prefer the half lotus position, or you may need to lie down with a pillow under your knees to support your back. Let your hands rest in your lap, palms facing up. Close your eyes and mouth and breathe gently through your nose. With each inhale, visualize white light entering your body. And as you exhale, let all your breath out slowly, breathing in white light and breathing out all stress, anxiety, letting it go. Simply be in the now, the present, this very moment. Divine Source, thank you for blessing me with this day, with my life and all my many blessings. Thank you for giving me another day to be of service in this life and in this body. I ask that you cleanse me in divine white light, erasing all energy that does not belong in my auric field. Surround me in a beautiful, translucent, golden bubble of protection that is bathed in your divine white light, sealing in all my positive energies and good health, sealing out all negative energies, all ill health, all entities from lower realms, and I send white light to the lower realms, so that only peace, love, and protection may enter in. I give gratitude for my spiritual team, spirit guides, angels, and my loved ones in the light. I send this light out to each of my loved ones on both the physical plane and the spiritual plane. I send this light out to all those in need of a physical, emotional, or spiritual healing. I connect with universal consciousness. I connect with all beings who are in meditation at this moment. I am eternal. I am one with Divine Source. I am one with all. Compassion guides all my thoughts, words, actions, and I trust that I will complete my greater work before I transition to heavenly home. With gratitude and joy, I am a child of God. And so it is.
And so it is. It's so nice. I love this. Reminder, guys. So today's the 18th. The next Saturday there will not be a meeting. I understand lots of people traveling, meeting with the family, etc., etc. And then as we move on, so we might be still talking about the book, the Missionary of the Light book, or if we are done, which I don't believe, then we'll be back to the modal laws. But most important is the Saturday, evidently, December the 24th, until January the 13th. So who will be on vacation? There will not be any meeting. Before we start, I would like to for us to listen to this answer that Chico Xavier provided to this very famous show that used to be broadcasted in Brazil back in 60s, late 60s, early 70s. I want to say late 60s. So actually this is a series of two programs, two shows, very long ones. I think each one is like 2 hours or something. And he was there basically answering questions from a lot of people, like scientists, journalists, you name it. Several people, different religions, people from different religions as well. And specifically this video I brought today in because it is the subtitles, they are in English, so the audio will be in Portuguese. I hope you guys can read the subtitles, but the answer is to the question, will we ever communicate with the spiritual realm making use of some form of technology? Remember, this is like late 60s, and researchers like what Sonia Rinaldi is doing, it was not so very well known. There were some, but not so known by a lot of people. So let me see if I will reduce the volume in Portuguese.
Ana, não reduz muito o volume em português, não, porque eu quase não escutei a meditação. Não sei se é problema do meu computador, estou com o volume no máximo.
Doutor Hernani Guimarães Andrade é a próxima pergunta.
Chico Xavier. Alguns cientistas europeus, como o Dr. Constantin Roldivar, estão logrando obter, por processos eletrônicos...
Just a sec. You guys can read the subtitle?
Yes.
Is clear? Okay.
comunicações verbais com seres inteligentes de um outro mundo. Suspeita-se que tal mundo seja aquele habitado pelos que já viveram aqui e estão desencarnados. Pedimos a gentileza de nos informar se realmente já se está conseguindo tal intercomunicação eletrônica entre os vivos e os desencarnados. E em caso afirmativo, perguntamos também se futuramente irá a humanidade conseguir ver os desencarnados usando aparelhos eletrônicos, como por exemplo uma câmara espiritoscópica.
Emmanuel sempre nos informa que cabe a nós todos formular os mais ardentes votos para que a ciência no mundo atinja essa realização. Até agora, o problema da comunicação entre os vivos no plano físico e os vivos além da Terra tem se verificado através de processos mediúnicos com o emprego da própria criatura humana na condição de veículo mediúnico. Mas esperemos que coletivamente sejamos merecedores de uma realização tão alta, porque quando pudermos espraiar a convicção da imortalidade da alma, sem um concurso deficiente de criaturas humanas, como eu mesmo, que tenho tido a tarefa de entrar em comunicação com amigos desencarnados absolutamente com um profundo demérito de minha parte, quando nós chegarmos a essa condição de conquistarmos esse processo de comunicação com fatores da ciência, naturalmente que a sobrevivência do espírito trará um novo sentido à civilização cristã no mundo, compreendendo-se que o nosso Divino Mestre nos deu a lição da imortalidade com a sua própria ressurreição.
Pinga Fogo, série 71, o penúltimo.
So the answer, I do not know if you guys understood, but it's very subtle, but it's a very typical answer from Emmanuel. So the question was, will we ever communicate, will we ever see the spiritual realm same way as we do see someone in a TV or something, using some fashion of some form of technology? So the answer, given the case that this was Emmanuel, it was very typical. We need to earn it first. So he said, collectively, we need to earn it. So it is up to us to work towards it, but not in a fashion of science, but inner transformation, so we can deserve it. So it is up to us. And I thought it was very, very interesting and very typical answer from Emmanuel. And sorry. So today we are going to start the discussion with about Missionary of the Light. That's the third book. And I'm very glad that we are discussing this before the next movie, which is about the messengers, is a continuation of Astral City. The name of the movie is Astral City 2. But these Missionaries of the Light also tackled on a lot of things that we'll certainly see on this second movie, because Missionaries of the Light is also about the mediumship work. And I'm pretty sure there will do few things that we'll discuss about it about this book. As we discuss about this book, there are some points that I would like to comment first, so we keep in mind. You know, this book will outline mechanisms, communication mechanisms through psychography, psychophonic communication, and mainly materialization. So I know Luiz, he wants to talk about materialization. Is a very dear topic for him. I don't think we'll be able to discuss this today, but there are several information, and the book really describes in a very deep scientific way the materialization, how the psychography works, you know, it's not just about taking control of the hand of the medium. There are several steps and the things that need to happen so that communication will take place. The book, the focus in the book also is about difficulties as the medium will face, you know, as this medium is developing the mediumship capabilities. So things that will influence, you know, the work, sexual disorder, overeating, bad habits, alcohol, etc. How this will influence, all of that will influence in our ability or in the quality of the communication. Spiritual influence and vampirism. It's, it is, guys, you know, it happens. And evidently it's not the same way as we see in the movies, but yeah, that kind of relationship does happen, and we cannot really tell there is a victim and the bad guy, because the two, in case if just two, they will play a role in that relationship. The power of prayers. This book talks about how all the mechanism and what happens when we pray, and how that prayer actually have the influence and the impact on what exactly, you know, we want to pray for. Sometimes we pray for something that is not meant to be, but that doesn't mean that that prayer is lost. Because what happens is, and we'll talk about that, you know, all the energy that our body is capable of emit, all the energy that we are capable of, you know, to donate, the higher beings will be able to collect that and actually manipulate and use that energy in a good way. Sometimes it's not exactly what we want or what we pray for, but they know how to use that energy very well. There are some very nice lectures on the spiritual realm about the mediumship, and the audience is very nice, because some of those lectures, the audience is not only based on spiritual beings, but also incarnated people that they are in a sleep, you know, in a deep sleep, and then they are taken to those places to learn, you know, from those lectures. I myself, I remember specifically one of these lectures that I attended And it was, oh my gosh, I was as happy as someone can be. I could not, I remember I was so happy in that chair, and oh my, it was amazing. And this book also talk about something I didn't know until I read it, is what it called, the so-called accomplished spirit. What is accomplished spirit? We'll talk about this later. But the book was completed, or was posted, in May 1945. Was published, not posted, was published in May 1945. It was written in the same city that we visited in Pedro Leopoldo, in this farmhouse that Chico used to visit. And the main sponsor, as usual, Emmanuel, but we know the editors was not just, was a group of spirit assisting André Luiz in this work, meaning, again, André Luiz was describing all the experiences, but then those editors, they were kind of filtering the type of information that we actually were able to understand, to process. So you can have an idea when they're talking about vampirism, for example. André Luiz, he was describing, but the spirits, they just let us know what we needed to know, what is necessary for us to know. The main character is Alexandre or Alexander. I do not know how they will call this instructor, but is Alexandre in Portuguese. And then there are other characters, Antonio, Esther, and so forth. And the whole scenario takes place, the whole story takes place in those zones very, very close to Earth surface. So they are meeting with the spirits that they live like us. They are so used to the physical dimension that they almost live like us. Thus, vampirism and those kind of things. Because anyway, we are talking about. When we say that this story, or the stories of this book, takes place in places very close to Earth, remember, we have all those different type of, or layers of realms, depending on the dimensions. Anyway, this is just a very simple, high level, so we can understand how close this is, or how far this is from our reality, from our physical dimension. So this story is actually taking place between what they call surface umbral and umbral. So Astral City is located in this number 4. That's the ordinary umbral. But then they go to lower zones to meet these spirits, to see those how can I say, to witness those facts, that they will, André Luiz will describe for us. And as introduction, there is a very nice introduction by Emmanuel, and I did select some part of it. And can you guys read? Gloria, can I ask you to volunteer?
Sure, my phone is ringing here, but today's an election day, so the phones are ringing nonstop all day in Louisiana, so excuse the noise. I'm facing the new era. As long as a story speaks about the intervention of fairies when referring to tutelary genii, hidden palaces, and the wonders of an unknown forest, children are all ears, showing happiness and interest on their rapt faces. However, when the storyteller changes his or her approach in order to focus on instructive realities, the infantile mind retracts, upset, and bored. It does not understand the promise of the future life with its work and responsibilities.
So it's very obvious. The infantile, who are the infantiles, right? Us.
Hearts that are still tender love dreams and expect easily won heroism. I apologize. Hold, let me turn my phone off. Hearts that are still tender love dreams and expect easily won heroism. They prefer making the least effort possible, and they do not immediately understand the divine labor involved in ongoing perfection. Hence, they withdraw, amazed and surprised, from any real teaching. Nevertheless, life is waiting for them with its unchangeable laws, and it gradually reveals the truth to them without spectacular noises, but with the serenity of a mother. The pages by Andre Luiz remind us of that image.
So regardless of our belief, whether we believe or not, it will happen. So whether we'll be surprised depends on our efforts in educate us, right?
As long as wise and benevolent spirits bring a vision of heaven, thereby broadening the arena of human hope, our incarnate brothers and sisters ecstatically and joyously listen to us. It is the sublime consolation, the comfort for which they have longed. Souls gather to receive messages from heaven. On the other hand, if messengers from the higher realms reveal certain angles of the spirit life, speaking to them about work, personal effort, personal responsibility, constructive struggle, necessary study, and self-improvement, they cannot hide their displeasure.
That's Emmanuel. No comment there.
We're humans, yes. Contrary to what they believed at first, they do not see a heaven of ease or a region of privilege, nor do they witness miraculous events or see restful beatitude. Instead of paradise surrounding them, they feel they are in the vicinity of an industrious workshop where workers do not evolve by means of the privilege, protectionism, but rather at the cost of their own effort. Thus, victory or defeat comes from their own conscience. They perceive the imperishable law, which, without making erroneous decisions, has control over lives in the name of the Eternal One. They understand that the seashores of divine beauty and the enchanted palaces of peace await the spirit on other vibrational continents of the universe. But they also realize that it is their responsibility to sweat and struggle, to be industrious, and to improve themselves in order to reach them by swimming across the great sea of experience. Most become frightened and try to retreat.
Yep.
Go hide, yeah. It is not enough simply to define Spiritism, its venerable characteristics as the consoler of humankind. It is also necessary to reveal its facet as a liberating movement aimed at consciences and hearts. Physical death is not the end. It is merely the next chapter in the book of evolution and improvement. At its arrival, no one should expect final and definitive solutions, for we know that 100 years of activity in the world represent but a relatively small fraction of time for any type of spiritual growth in the life eternal. An infinite field of service awaits the dedication of workers of truth and the good. Massive problems challenge the brave spirits incarnated at this time with the glorious mission of preparing the new era and contributing to the restoration of living faith and the widening of human understanding. It is crucial to come to the aid of religion entombed in the theological archives of churches of stone and to support science, which has become a satanic genius of destruction.
Yeah, it is nice to say, to point that this is back in 1945. Even for the Spiritists in Brazil, they were struggling to understand all those scenarios, all the images and the very strong experiences that André Luiz describes in this book and the other books as well. So until then, Spiritism was more like consoling, giving strength. But in this case, he's saying, hey, it's not about it. It's about liberation of consciousness and hearts, because it's saying, hey, it's up to us to work in our inner transformation so we do not experience all those things that André Luiz is saying. Leda, you want to say something? You are on mute, I guess. We cannot hear you.
Can't hear me?
Okay, now. There you go.
Oh, sorry. So sorry. I think this image that Emmanuel brings of the child is very wise, because when we are children, we don't want to grow up. We never want to grow like Peter Pan, right?
Mhm.
But being in the adult world is so much about freedom, about being your own self, and being able to do so many things that make you happy in a way that a child would never imagine. So spiritually, I believe he's giving the same idea. So if we pass over this, if we pass through this difficulties of not wanting to have fun all the time, not wanting to be lazy or to have privileges and be in imaginary world, and we take responsibility for our actions, and we understand that there is justice in the world, and this justice is about having the consequences of what you do, facing the consequences of what you do, and working to the others as much as we work for our family, as much as we work for our friends, being in this brotherhood with humankind. That's, if we do understand that, and if we change our values, then we will face so much happiness and so much freedom, so much things that we would never imagine that we would achieve before,
Yeah, I think you brought up a good point, Leda, because as children, we are at the mercy of our parents. So in the past, we used to say, oh, that's God's will. No, it is up to us. It is. So what Emmanuel is saying, we take control. Hey guys, let's take control of our own destiny. You have the free will. Now you have the knowledge. So let's work on it, and let's be the responsible for our own destiny, right? So I think it is that meaning also. Thank you, Leda. Oh, Gloria, please.
Question: in this book, is this where they address, here it says, the glorious mission of preparing the new era? So in this book, is he talking about the new era?
No, he's just talking about it is a time when new information will come along, new like I said, description of what exactly happens once we transition. Until then, we were just behaving like childish, you know.
So it's a new era of knowledge.
I think the new
Knowledge.
year has to do with practicing spirituality like we do here, studying and being part in mediumistic meetings and
Yeah.
treating spiritual disorders. That's the new era, because that's when people will understand that we are spirits, actually.
Yeah. Being more responsible, knowing more, right? So, okay.
You want me to go on?
Yes, please.
Victorious spirituality is traveling the world, regenerating its moral sources and awakening individuals to a realistic picture of their acquisitions.
You see what the new era is? So the new, yeah.
Mm-hmm. There are new warnings calling to disbelieving men and women of the 20th century, pointing out broader horizons to them and showing them that the spirit lives above the civilizations that war transforms or consumes in its millenary dragon-like veracity. Millenary dragon-like veracity. On facing this new era and considering the great endeavor of renewal, the cooperation of all faithful servants of truth and the good is requested so that, more than anything else, they may live the new faith, each and everyone improving and uplifting themselves on the way to a better world so that the teachings of Christ may prevail over the mere words of fine-sounding ideologies. In the execution of this lofty task, incarnates and discarnates of goodwill are coming together, building the bridge of light over which humankind will cross the abyss of ignorance and death.
Yeah. So that's, yeah. Now we become even more responsible now that we know better.
It is for this reason, dear reader, that Andre Luiz once again comes to you to tell you something about the divine service of the missionaries of the light, and to explain that humans are eternal spirits, temporarily inhabiting the living temple of terrestrial flesh, that the paraspirit is not a body of nebulous mist, but rather a living structure to which physical cells are molded, that in all places the soul receives, according to its personal creations, that the ties of love and hatred follow us into every arena of life, that other activities besides the common struggle of everyday life are carried out by the incarnated consciousness, that reincarnation is guided by sublime spiritual powers, and that beyond the grave, the soul continues to struggle and learn, to perfect itself, and to serve the Lord's designs, continuing to grow toward the immortal glory to which the Father has destined us.
Yeah, it's very nice when it says that in all places the soul receives according to its personal creations. So again, it's up to us, nobody else.
If in reading this book you become frightened, if the statements of the messenger seem revolutionary to you, turn to prayer and thank the Lord for the learning experience, asking him to clarify and enlighten you so that illusion does not keep you trapped in its web. Remember that the revelation of truth is progressive, and as you appeal for divine help for your soul, pay heed to the sacred duties that the earth has arranged for you each day. Be aware that the death of the body will not lead you to stagnation, but to new arenas of improvement and labor, of renewed and blessed struggle, where you will live much more and more intensely.
So no rest,
Yeah, no retirement.
No retirement. And again, this was 1945. 1945, and until today we have thousands of people. They do not know, they believe. I respect all beliefs, but they still believe, once we make the transition, we'll just rest in peace. Well, not that much. So this book is about 20 chapters. Oh, sorry, Hyacinth, go
Yes.
ahead.
You mean we will just rest until the trumpet wakes you up?
Oh, the trumpets, they'll be playing right away.
No, we had a discussion today just
Mhm.
about death and dying and preparing your funerals and so on with the church. And that is what I said. I know that when I leave this body, I assume a spiritual body. I am not sleeping in the ground until the trumpet wakes me up. The Pope can't get me to change my mind. I know that.
Very nice, I think. Yeah. So like I was saying, this book, it has 20 chapters, and the first one is about the medium writing letters, or books, and it is nice. It says at some point in this chapter, André Luiz is saying, transmitting the message will not simply be about taking over the psychographer's hand. In other words, in this chapter is explaining all the mechanism, all the process that needs to take place so the spirit can actually not take over, but influence the body of the medium. It is nice because at some point, the Alexandre, this guy helping André Luiz with this book, he's a higher being. At some point, he's saying, André, every living being has the psychic abilities. So, in other words, anybody that is actually, alive will have some sensation, will see something, will have some impressions, will have some experiences, will experience something. However, if there will not be any effort from our part in regards to education, transformation, having discipline, etc., those psychic experience, there will not be anything more than impressions. In this, did anybody say something? Yeah. So in the best case scenario, it's going to be really meaningless communications. So it's necessary that we understand very well, as whoever is doing that, developing the mediumship abilities, skills, you name it. It is very important to keep in mind. It's about education, it's about inner transformation. So you make sure that the quality of those communications is meaningful, and it is about a discipline, as we will see in the following chapters. And then Alexandre continues, to lend himself or herself to the desired exchange, he or she, whoever is candidate for a medium, needs to renounce himself or herself with selflessness and humbleness. The first factors in obtaining access to exchange with the higher regions. One needs to be silent so that others can speak. I thought that was very nice. One needs to be silent so that others can speak, to give, or one needs to give of oneself so that others may receive. So again, it's not a matter of superpowers, it's not a matter of being special, but it's about being of service, in benefit of others. So that's any other comment? Leda, Maria, you guys?
I will try to talk about one thing that I think that's very important, because when we listen what Alexandre says to us, okay, maybe we can think that we are not able to do anything because renounce ourselves and with self-knowledge and humbleness, maybe is very difficult to imagine how can I live renouncing myself, all right? But if we think about it, we have a little things that we need to do to renounce ourselves in favor of the next one, people, all right? In this book, the knowledge is very high. But if we try to do the best we can in little things during the day with our husband, our wife, our sons, neighbors, and in my profession, if I can stay really doing the good I can, we can do this in our lives. When I began to desenvolve my mediumistic mediumship, that's
mediumship or mediumistic abilities, yes.
Yes. Every place I went, I listened. Reforma íntima, how can I say it in English?
Inner transformation.
Inner transformation, inner transformation, inner transformation. And I said, oh, what is it? How I can do this? Then I note that it's with a little X. Mm-hmm. In our lives, during the day, during the week, the month, the year, mm-hmm. the decade, and the life. Mm-hmm. It's not a difficult thing to do if we are really want to do this.
Yeah. So what they are asking is not something impossible. It is certainly possible, but like you said, it does require a lot of vigilance, a lot of discipline, as we deal with family members, neighbors, friends, and so forth. And what you said is very important, Maria, because at some point, Alexandre, he's saying, how one can achieve higher goals if we do not observe certain principles and values. Like I said, the small things, on a day-by-day basis, in my thoughts, if I do not give a lot of attention, if a negative thought is crossing my mind, it will. But then we just, do not give a whole lot of attention. We do not get stuck with a feeling that is not positive. So if we keep this attitude or mental attitude, then yeah, it's possible. Maria, please.
There is a very important point in this chapter 1 that André Luiz aliás, Alexandre said that the mediums that are trying to psychograph or work with a mediumistic meeting, they separate our soul from their body. Like the soul can do many things and doesn't mean what your body does. You understand?
So let me see if I understood this correctly. So he's saying that the medium, the soul of the medium is detached or separated from the body. The soul can do other stuff while the body is writing, is that?
In automatic writing, right?
They arrive in the meeting and try to do many spiritual things.
Mm-hmm.
But before the meeting, they drink alcoholic.
Oh, I see.
Eat so much and have sexual activities in disorder. And they separate what they do and what they wish to do spiritually, all right? But the things are
intertwined.
Connected.
Yes. You can do spiritual things, but if your acts in your life, you do things that doesn't have anything spiritual.
Yeah, so I understand as we talk about the chapter 2, that will be more about the influence of alcohol and things. Yeah. So, and the chapter 2, Hyacinth, please.
Is this thing where they're having alcohol and sexual disorientation, is that a sort of extra tempting to prevent them from reaching their highest good?
Sometimes it is, depending on the mission of the medium.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that will be more challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes it's because really the personality of the character of the medium is not very well settled, you know. Yeah. But I do believe that people with mission like Chico, they probably had a lot of challenges. Evidently, they had the discipline as well to overcome those challenges. But yeah, most of the time, I believe, is more related to our own imperfection.
Mm-hmm.
So in the chapter 2, they are talking about the pineal gland or epiphysis. That's how it is. Epiphysis, I guess that's how it says. And it's very interesting. You know, the pineal gland is this in it's a very tiny peanut size type of gland located in the middle of our brain, between the eyes and the very center of the brain. Even though it's very small, but this gland has a huge role in the mediumistic work. And in the book, they say every glandular center is an electrical power or center. In the mediumistic exercise of any modality, the epiphysis plays the most important role through its balanced forces the human mind, it intensifies the power of emission and reception of a peculiar light beings to our dimension. It is there in the epiphysis that the new meaning of human being resides. However, in most of them, this divine seed is kept, sleeping. In the book, André Luiz makes a comment saying that this pineal gland most of the times becomes more active between the, around 14 year old, at the age of 14. André Luiz also mentioned something very interesting as he is witnessing some of the mediumistic work, some of the mediumistic meetings, and the process and all the experiences that are taking place there. André Luiz talks about his vision. At the beginning, the astral city, he is kind of surprised that he can see, or he can actually have an X-ray type of vision. But the more he learns, the more he study and train himself, this vision is becoming more accurate, more precise. So he describes it as a more accurate than X-ray. Again, this was 1945. So today, in today's reality, I think he would compare to MRI or something, because he's saying that he can see with such clarity, is so clear for him to actually see the process happening right in front of him. One of the things that he mentioned, for example, as the medium, there is this medium writing a letter. He can see it is a guy. His pineal gland is actually glowing, and this light is about like 60 centimeters long in most of the cases. However, I don't remember who told me that or where I read this. Somebody mentioned in cases like mediums like Chico Xavier, it was huge. It was not 60 centimeters. It was much longer than that. Also, the book talks about the other mediums in that mediumistic meeting, and as they keep themselves in a prayer type of concentration or meditation, they are called support mediums. Their pineal gland is also glowing, and actually their body emits this intense energy that then is manipulated by the higher beings. In the book, they're saying the pineal gland is the most important one, taking this very important role in the whole mediumistic process, but doesn't mean that it's just the pineal gland, because it is a combination of all the other glands. So, for example, they talk about the sexual glands, what's going on with it, and how the functionality of those glands, how they will impact in the whole process, in the whole experience. And they even talk about, Alexandre even talk about the pineal gland is responsible for these psychic hormones. Evidently, this is a metaphor, but it's just saying how the pineal gland is able to connect and actually impact on all the other glands, so they can work together and produce the mediumistic work. Does anybody want to mention anything? Gloria's like,
I do, because it says at the top, every glandular center has an electrical power. So I'm thinking that if we're, I don't even have the words, out of whack somehow with our other glands, that is going to interfere with the functioning of our pineal gland.
precisely, that's exactly the case.
So it would
And
be
that-
like static or interference. You know how you get the snow on the TV when the channel isn't tuned in right in those old TV sets. And I was thinking, well, if it's electrical power, it could be messing with our all these electrical power coming through our glands. I want to read more.
It is very important that this Gloria, André Luiz mentioned specifically this guy. He is trying to develop his mediumship. He wants to write letters and books, but the problem is, he's a married guy. He's happy with his wife, but somehow, because of his spirit development or his moral values, etc., he cannot control his thoughts, and his thoughts kind of take control over his mind. So it is like, those folks that they deal with a lot of repression, but they still have this inner thoughts, about whatever desires they have. So that is interfering with his sexual glands. And the way that the sexual glands and the pineal gland is he's trying to balance the forces, but somehow he cannot. It's out of tune. So it's very interesting. I don't want to say exactly what happens, but it is this book. If you were interested in mechanism of things, this book really explains more in depth what's going on and how all these thoughts. It is not so when they talk about for the mediums to not have sex like the day before of a mediumistic meeting, or not to eat too much or eat meat the day before or during the day of the mediumistic meeting, is not about religious dogmatism. It is science. There are reasons why some of those habits, they need to be observed. So you make sure that on that day, you will be prepared for the mediumistic meeting, in all those glands that will be balanced.
That's a good word, balanced. Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the electrical connections then can be made.
Yeah. And there will be a lot of, descriptions and the medical terminologies. André Luiz, he's a scientist, and he's talking about, and it is difficult even for him, because, and he says, here I am, a doctor, but I do not have a diagnostic for what I am witnessing, what I am looking at it. So there are lots of new things even for him, but he tries his best to describe, in a scientific way, what's going on. Len, sorry.
All right, well, putting together a few concepts. Look at pathophysiology of the pineal gland, circadian rhythms, sleep, melatonin. It is a very important for our sleep mechanisms, the pathophysiology. Now, look at the metaphysics, the astral travel. What happens in sleep? Every night we astral travel. So what stays here, a temporary incarnate body with our etheric body, the energy platform body at a higher vibration frequency. What goes to the other side when we all astral travel every night? Connected by the silver cord or the energy cord is your astral body, your soul, and your consciousness and auric fields. So now you're putting together, is there some kind of relationship of the physiology of the organic brain of the pineal gland with the astral travel that we do? Everyone astral travels every night. Okay, so that is, so I'm throwing it out as a concept to discuss, because it's an interesting how you can combine the organic physiologies of the pineal gland, and it controls circadian rhythms, melatonin to sleep. What happens when we sleep? We astral travel. All right, I threw that one out.
Thank you, Len.
It's food for thought. Food for thought now.
Thank you, Len. Yeah, very interesting. Leda, please.
Yeah, very interesting, Len. Not only we astral travel, but all of us, we feel in a certain way the presence, when the spirits are near us and when they talk to us, because all of us, we have this pineal gland, right? But in this medium kind of mediums that are ostensivos, when the medium is when the medium really works as a medium, that's because this gland has a special treatment. Maybe everything is working in place and it can grow and it can, the spirits say that it's like when you turn on the lights and there is this electric, Anna will explain it better. Yeah, there's this
the
electrical
electrons, they
connection.
just start, they start traveling, you know.
Yeah, so in some kind of mediums, there is this turning on the lights, which makes things get in connection and makes everything happen. But all of us, like Len said, all of us have the capacity, the ability to travel at night, to astral travel, and to have these intuitions of when the spirits are close to us and when they talk to us, and when we have, but we have to educate that. We have to have the to know how to look at ourselves, at the phenomena, and to learn that, no, this is not the way I usually think. There's something else. There is a touch that it's not exactly mine, you know? So we have to educate that.
Let me add a footnote here about astral travel. Every night we all astral travel. Now, Felicia, Kayla waits for me to go to sleep. She lays next to me. Then we go to the other side. We astral travel. It's blocked off for me. So in the morning, when I have my morning coffee, Felicia sits there and tells me where we went on the other side every night, because it's blocked off to me. I could go into hypnosis and then it would be revealed. But she tells me every morning at morning coffee where we went, on what we did when we astral travel that night. But I don't know. That's why she waits for me to go to sleep, and then we go home together every night.
Yeah.
So at coffee every morning, she's telling me what we did on the other side at night.
That's
our coffee, morning coffee.
Breakfast. Go ahead, Linda.
And then don't you remember anything, Len? Because you can train to try to remember parts of it.
No, it's blocked off. In fact, there's a chapter in one of our books, I think it's book 4, where astral travel, and I asked Mother, it's blocked off for me. I could, under hypnosis, it would be revealed. But, you know, she tells me in the morning, that's good enough. You know, she gives me the lowdown and details. We did this, that, and the other. I'm good. I'm happy, you know.
And I think and I think it is in the Red Book of Jung. He says that most of us, what happens to us is the way that we bring that memory back is we transform, or somehow we associate all that message, all that knowledge to symbols. So there's the symbology, because it's easier for our brain to settle, to grasp all that knowledge, to keep that memory. And by the time the soul, connects back to the body, so we'll not lose completely what we experienced. So that's why sometimes you have dreams about someone telling you something, or talking about a tree, etc., etc. Well, sometimes it's using of symbology, so you can keep that message, you can keep the core of that message with you, because sometimes it's not so easy to bring the memory, like Len was saying. You have blackouts, you are blocked, you cannot remember the whole thing. But most of us, we bring symbols that it has something to do with what we learned, what we saw. And in some occasions we can, it is exactly what we experienced. Most of the time, no. But what Linda was talking about, the switch, is something very interesting. It requires training, because most of the mediums, this is like an open door. The pineal gland is just like an open door. They cannot turn on and off. It requires training. And I remember this friend of mine, she lives here in Houston. She can see, she can actually talk to spirits. It's so funny, because the other day she was talking to me that she went to this trip with her sons to where, my goodness, I think it was Denver, no, Colorado. And she said that they were in this hotel. No, it was Airbnb. So it was this small apartment, and she was in this bedroom, and all of a sudden she wakes up, and there was a guy just looking at her like, "What are you doing here? This is my house." And she said, "Oh, it's so uncomfortable situation, you have to explain." But when that happens in her house, for example, she says, "No, this is my sacred place, not here. There, if you want to speak to me, if you need my help, you know where I go. There is this Spiritist center. We have a place, we have a time, but this is my house. This is my sacred place, not here." Especially in her bedroom. She said, in the past, it used to be like everywhere. And it was fun. There is funny story about her honeymoon that didn't happen because there was this guy. And then she said, "I had to learn to put some order and say, hey, no, this is my private life. Go away." But it does require training. Maria, please.
We have an important pineal function that would be good to highlight. It presides over the nervous phenomena of emotionality. The emotion, it's very important.
Biorhythms.
Yes.
As an organ of right expression in the ethereal body. it unties in certain way the divine bonds of nature, which link existences to each other. In the sequence of struggles for the improvement of the soul and allow us to glimpse the greatness of creative faculties with which one of us is invested. The pineal gland controls the subconscious force under the direct determination of the will. And Emmanuel told us that the will is the supreme management of the mind.
Yes.
Management or government?
Management
of the mind. If we think about our mind, we produce our thoughts and our feelings.
Yes.
And the will is the manager of both one. It's very important when we are in the mediumistic meetings, when the medium have many difficulty to translate what they are seeing, what they are listening. The coordinator, the dialoguer, put your hand in front of the
medium.
And imagine doing force to the pineal and put in the
coronary chakra.
Coronary tract, because by coronary the height forces are doing the contact with the medium in the mediumistic meeting. And the speaker can help the medium to do your job, putting his hands to help him.
But does that happen because of the medium
have many difficulties to do the job during the
because meeting. Of his so okay, so did you guys understood what she said? She said that in the mediumistic meetings, if the medium is facing challenges to translate, and that is based on because of the medium own challenges with emotions or whatever. So the coordinator of the meeting, the dialoguer, as soon as that person noticed that, so they try to kind of give a hands-on healing, in this chakra and this chakra, just to kind of balance the pineal gland.
Yes, thank you very much, Anna. You are my
translator. Len, no, you did a great job, Maria.
Relating to, I think, Maria, what you want to say, emotions, energy levels, not only circadian rhythms the pineal gland controls with sleep, the cycle, but it's biorhythms too, the physiology of the body. The biorhythms fluctuate on a 24-hour basis all the time, your energy levels. And that obviously energy levels will affect psychic abilities because energy fluctuates. So what the term you're really using also is the term biorhythms. It affects us.
Yeah, that's a good way.
When your biorhythms are down, you just don't feel right. It's just it affects the whole system. So that you're really, the pineal gland is a physiological control mechanism for not only circadian rhythms of sleep, but also biorhythms of the physiology of the brain and the body. Very, very fluctuating energies. Very, very important.
Thank you, Lynn. Guys, it's 4:21 here in Texas. So Nora and we are in Texas, so I can say that. And it's been a pleasure to talk to you all. Next Saturday, remember, there will not be meetings. So I wish you all a great Thanksgiving. And then the following Saturday, we'll be back with a continuation the book
Yes,
discussion.
it's Thanksgiving coming up. Mhm.
Happy Thanksgiving. Do they have a Thanksgiving analogous like in Brazil, like we have in the United States of something? No, they don't.
No.
When we had the
No.
conference, they had what, that 4-day holiday because it was the independence from Portugal?